Hey folks, in today's Conundrum we will cover the case of Ronald Dominique, the Bayou Strangler, a notorious American serial killer who terrorized Louisiana from 1997 to 2006. His gruesome crimes claimed the lives of 23 men and boys. After a trial on September 23, 2008, Dominique was sentenced to multiple life imprisonments without parole. The FBI recognized his case as the most impactful serial homicide in the country in terms of both body count and duration. Surprisingly, Dominique's arrest went relatively unnoticed beyond the state's media outlets. Welcome back to Conundrum, where we delve into the minds and history of serial killers. If you like this type of content, please subscribe, and put the notifications bell on so you don't miss any of my future uploads. Thank you for being here. Ronald Dominique, born on January 9, 1964, faced a challenging upbringing in Thibodaux, Louisiana. Growing up in poverty, his parents struggled to make ends meet in a trailer park on the outskirts of town. Despite financial hardships, Dominique managed to graduate from Thibodaux High School in 1983. He pursued higher education at Nicholls State University, studying computer science but eventually dropping out in the mid-1980s. Throughout his school years, Dominique was known for his introverted nature, struggles with weight, and difficulty in social interactions. He faced bullying due to low self-esteem, poor health, and a lack of interest in sports or substance abuse. In a period before leaving school, Dominique discovered his homosexuality and ventured to a local gay bar. Unfortunately, his visits became known to classmates, leading to further harassment. He denied accusations of being gay. In 1985, Ronald Dominique faced his first offense, being arrested for sexual harassment conducted over the telephone. He paid a fine of $75 as a consequence. With limited education, Dominique struggled to find stable employment and often faced disciplinary issues, leading to difficulties in maintaining jobs. He relied on the support of family members, primarily his mother and older sister, moving between their households to sustain himself. In 1994, Dominique encountered legal trouble again, this time for drunk driving, resulting in a monetary penalty. A significant incident occurred in 1996 when a young man, partially unclothed, escaped from Dominique's sister's residence and accused him of rape and attempted murder. Dominique was arrested and granted bail set at $100,000. However, the prosecution faced challenges in locating the alleged victim and establishing his identity. Eventually, the case was dismissed in November of that year. Another arrest followed on February 10, 2002, when Dominique was accused of assaulting a woman during a Mardi Gras festival in Terrebonne Parish. The altercation stemmed from an incident where the woman had allegedly hit a baby stroller with her car, leading to a confrontation with Dominique. After an apology was given, Dominique unexpectedly struck her in the face. While charged initially, the case was dropped after a reconciliation agreement was reached between Dominique and the woman involved. Being a gay man, Dominique remained unmarried without children. He found solace in frequenting gay bars, often adorning himself in the attire of his favorite singer, Patti LaBelle. Despite his involvement in the local gay community, Dominique faced disdain and struggled to form meaningful relationships. Ronald Dominique embarked on a chilling spree of calculated and brutal murders, meticulously selecting his victims from a predominantly young male demographic aged 16 to 46. Regardless of sexual orientation, Dominique targeted African-American individuals, encountering them during walks, drives in his pickup truck, or gay bars. Manipulating their vulnerabilities, he enticed them with promises of alcohol, drugs, housing, or group sex. Once he gained their trust, Dominique led them to his trailer, where he subjected them to horrific acts of rape before callously strangling them, silencing their cries forever. Dominique's attention to detail extended to the disposal of the bodies. After his heinous acts, he loaded the lifeless corpses into his truck and dumped them in remote rural areas across 6 neighboring parishes. These carefully chosen locations ensured the victims' remains were concealed and difficult to discover. The chilling series of murders began in July 1997 with the tragic demise of 19-year-old African-American man David Mitchell. Found in a ditch near a wooded area in St. Charles Parish, Mitchell's death was initially ruled as accidental drowning, despite evidence suggesting foul play. Mitchell's father, convinced of his son's murder, highlighted the low water level and the discovery of his trousers lowered to his ankles. Dominique's subsequent confessions and the denial of Mitchell's relatives regarding his alleged involvement in drugs, homosexuality, or financial troubles further fueled suspicion. Dominique's next victims met their tragic fate in St. Charles Parish. In December 1997, he strangled 20-year-old Gary Pierre, who had recently faced drug trafficking charges. Pierre's body, fully clothed with no signs of physical trauma or drugs, perplexed investigators. The pattern continued on July 31, 1998, when Dominique took the life of 38-year-old Larry Ranson, a drug-addicted vagrant. Ranson became the first victim subjected to Dominique's sadistic bondage. In October 1998, Dominique encountered 27-year-old Oliver Lebanks in Metairie. Lebanks, a drug-addicted individual, offered sexual services in exchange for money. Dominique engaged in sexual acts before violently beating and strangling him. Lebanks' body was discarded on the outskirts of Metairie, with forensic evidence linking Dominique to the crime. Family and friends confirmed Lebanks' recent descent into a vagrant lifestyle following his job loss due to drug use. During the same month, Dominique lured 16-year-old Joseph Brown into his truck in Kenner under the pretense of selling crack cocaine. However, instead of a transaction, Dominique subjected Brown to brutal beatings and ultimately strangled him with a plastic bag. A month later, 18-year-old Bruce Williams suffered a similar fate under comparable circumstances. In May 1999, Dominique encountered 21-year-old Manuel Reed in Kenner, whom he deceived into believing a drug deal was imminent. Instead, Reed experienced rape and strangulation, with his corpse later found in a dumpster. Continuing his reign of terror, Dominique claimed the life of 21-year-old Angel Magia, a hobo with a history of drug possession convictions. After attempting to dispose of Magia's body in a full dumpster, Dominique left it discarded on the street. Autopsy findings revealed signs of prior binding. The investigation established connections between Magia, Brown, and Pierre, highlighting their proximity and association. In late August, Dominique met 34-year-old Mitchell Johnson, offering him drugs in exchange for sexual favors. Dominique led Johnson to a forest outside Metairie, where he subjected him to rape, bondage, and strangulation. Johnson's naked body was discovered shortly after. January 2000 witnessed another victim falling prey to Dominique's wickedness. He claimed the life of 23-year-old Michael Vincent in Lafourche Parish. In October of the same year, Dominique became closely associated with 20-year-old Kenneth Randolph Jr., a convicted child molester residing in the same trailer park. Luring Randolph into his trailer under false pretenses, Dominique launched a brutal attack, resulting in Randolph's tragic murder. His body was later found in a field. In October 2004, Dominique lured 46-year-old Larry Matthews to his house, where Matthews overdosed and lost consciousness. Taking advantage of the situation, Dominique raped and strangled him, disposing of the body miles away. Dominique's next victim, 21-year-old Michael Barnett, marked a significant change as he became the first white victim. Barnett's lifeless body was discovered later that month. Dominique continued his spree in early 2005, murdering 22-year-old Leon Lirette and 31-year-old August Watkins. Lirette had previous connections to two other victims, and Watkins was enticed by the promise of an overnight stay. Both were subjected to rape and ultimately strangled by Dominique. The killings persisted with the murders of Kurt Cunningham, Alonzo Hogan, and Wayne Smith, who were lured under false pretenses and subjected to Dominique's sadistic desires. Hogan and Smith, unlike previous victims, had no criminal records or drug involvement. In September 2005, Dominique targeted 40-year-old Chris DeVille, who was hitchhiking after Hurricane Katrina. Dominique discarded DeVille's body in a reed field, leaving only skeletal remains that were identified by relatives through personal belongings. In late November, Dominique struck again, claiming the life of 21-year-old Nicholas Pellegrin. Investigations revealed Pellegrin's association with local drug dealers, leading to initial misconceptions about the motive behind his death. Dominique's last confirmed victim was 27-year-old Christopher Sutterfield, whom he had been dating. During a date in Iberville Parish, Dominique struck Sutterfield on the head, causing his death. Witnesses recalled seeing Sutterfield with a man driving a black SUV but could not provide a detailed description. In November 2006, Ricky Wallace reported an encounter with Dominique, where he was lured to his trailer under the pretense of drugs and sexual activities. Dominique's attempt to involve Wallace in bondage was refused, and Wallace eventually left. Despite initial doubts due to Wallace's history of drug addiction and dishonesty, Dominique was questioned and his blood sample was taken. DNA testing confirmed Dominique's connection to the murders, matching his profile to semen traces found on the bodies of Oliver LeBancs and Manuel Reed. On December 1, 2006, Dominique was arrested at a homeless shelter. He acknowledged that he had anticipated his capture and had moved out of his sister's house to avoid inconveniencing her. During his time at the police station, Dominique expressed a willingness to cooperate, providing detailed confessions to 23 murders, known only to the investigating officers. Although charges were brought against him, Dominique refused to admit guilt, claiming that most victims willingly participated in bondage and other activities for financial gain. He asserted that he only harmed those who posed a potential threat as witnesses. Dominique attributed his motive to a desire to eliminate witnesses and avoid another prison sentence, stating that his 1996 arrest for rape had profoundly affected him and led to negative emotional states and signs of mental disorder. Following a plea bargain, Dominique was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to 8 life imprisonment terms without the possibility of parole on September 24, 2008. The case has gained media attention, with documentary films and TV shows exploring the events. These include the documentary film Bayou Blue in 2011, an episode of Killer Profile in 2013, a recreation of the killings in an episode of Killers, Behind the Myth in 2015, and an episode dedicated to the case in the Oxygen Network series Mark of a Killer in 2022. Additionally, the A&E TV series First Blood featured an episode that delved into Ronald's childhood and his murderous spree in 2022. Ronald Joseph Dominique's reign of terror left a trail of devastation and shattered lives. His meticulous selection of victims, manipulation, and sadistic acts of violence marked him as a serial killer of the utmost depravity. The efforts of law enforcement eventually led to his capture and the hope of justice for lives lost. Thank you to all who have stuck with me until the end of the video. All small creators like me have certain goals in mind when we embark on this journey, and reaching 1/4 of that goal is my first significant milestone. Since we all share a common interest in similar topics, my idea is to organize a giveaway for a 1-year Curiosity Stream subscription plan once we reach 250 subscribers. This giveaway will serve as a token of appreciation for your support thus far. I'm genuinely grateful to have you all here with me. Comment down below if you have any recommendations for my future uploads. I am Alex, and this was Conundrum. Stay curious and stay safe.